Welcome to today's wonderful story. Are you ready to laugh until your belly hurts? Let's take a look at the adventures of a lovely girl named Louisa. Louisa used to work at a coffee shop, but when business went south, the shop closed down for good. She lost her job of 6 years and rushed to the job center to find a new opportunity. The staff recommended her a special caregiver job. Upon hearing the pay was great, she jumped right into the interview, as if putting on a dazzling cloak for her life. She was unaware of embarking on a life-changing journey. Many, hearing it first, might deem it a common love tale. But the story takes an unexpected turn that's quite addictive, like being slowly bitten by the bug of emotions. If you want to watch, you should try the school app that keeps taking all the laughs. With the help of another caregiver, Mansen, Louisa began to warm up to the job a little. She experienced a surge of sympathy towards this poor man and thought to herself, perhaps I can do something to help him. My mum says you are truly sweet. Can we have a talk? Because you, my friend, are not sweet at all. Louisa looked at Will, puzzled, thinking, how can I cheer him up? To tackle the problem, she went back to her room to study the helpful booklet Mansen wrote for her, planning to dazzle him with her looks every day. Unfortunately, it didn't make Will happy or even mad. His face was as cold as a rock. Even when Louisa spilled soup on her own pants, Will remained completely unfazed. She grew more and more disheartened, but had to keep going for the sake of her family. One day, Will's ex-girlfriend dropped in unexpectedly, just as she was dating her best buddy. Once upon a time, Will and she were deeply in love, but a speeding motorcycle just gobbled up the dream of their happy life. Since then, Will avoided seeing anyone. His ex made her choice, and he couldn't blame her. Before leaving, she left Louisa a confusing remark. Will slammed the door shut, and shortly after, Louisa heard the sound of glass shattering. She rushed over to check on him, only to find Will had knocked down all her photos with his wheelchair. This had become his only form of release, and seeing him like this made Louisa feel incredibly sad. She vented to her boyfriend. However, her boyfriend appeared to be completely distracted, and even unilaterally transformed their originally planned vacation into a triathlon event without her consent. The next day, Louisa returned to work and carefully glued the broken frames back together, only to be met with Will's harsh words. You look awful. This is evidence of your uselessness. She held her breath, but finally snapped. On seeing this, Will refrained from his usual sarcasm and even invited Louisa to watch a movie, leading them to discover shared interests. As they chatted more, Will stopped being so arrogant, and Louisa learned to be forgiving. Watching her sun brighten up, Mom thought, maybe this girl can really save. Even Mansen remarked he had never seen Will this happy, but Will remained silent. As winter approached, Will had trouble sweating due to his physical condition, and Louisa anxiously called Mansen for help. Mansen understood the situation right away and decided to help Will remove his clothes while Louisa fetched a fan. In the heart of winter, they used wet towels to cool Will down, and Louisa stayed the entire night at work. Subtitles. She was saving videos of Will on her computer, in which he was full of vitality, young and promising, worth over 100 million, and living an almost perfect life. Watching the bubbly Louisa, Will requested she share something entertaining, prompting Louisa to reminisce about her childhood. When I was little, I loved wearing pattern tights, but sadly, they've been discontinued. They shared their past regrets, and from that day on, they finally became friends. I asked Louisa where her unique fashion sense came from, and she replied that she once dreamed of being a fashion designer. But due to financial difficulties, she had to abandon her studies. Will responded, we only live once, let's make it fabulous. She encouraged Louisa to explore the world, but unexpectedly Louisa switched topics and pointed to Will's beard, saying, this is a hot mess. To everyone's great surprise, Will actually agreed to shave, but only if Louisa would do it for him. With the razor gently gliding along, Will's handsome face reappeared once again. Louisa was mesmerized by his smile, but that day she accidentally overheard Will's parents arguing. It turned out Will had long requested assisted suicide from his parents, and Switzerland had already approved it. This was also why Lewis's contract was only 6 months long. The contract's expiration day was also the day Will planned to end his life, which Louisa couldn't bear to accept. She couldn't just sit back and watch him walk towards death, so she confided in her sister about the painful reality. She said she couldn't go on working. It felt like sending someone to die. But her sister encouraged her to find a way to rekindle his hope for life. She could try taking Will to enjoy the last moments of his life. Louisa was instantly struck by inspiration. She immediately went to the library to learn everything about disabilities to prepare a bucket list for Will, hoping this list could inspire him to keep on living. Louisa's mom encouraged her to set up a schedule quickly after seeing her plan, while Dad thought Will should make his own choices. This would make Will feel like a whole man. Louisa then began to think of all sorts of ways to take Will out. However, on their first outing, they got stuck in a rut. No matter how hard they tried, the wheelchair wouldn't budge. Louisa shouted for help from passers-by, but Will felt embarrassed. Still, they were already there. Subtitles. So they walked together to the audience seats, and Louisa excitedly declared, "The horse I've bet on is definitely going to win." However, Will said, "Your money is just going to be wasted." When the race began, all the horses surged ahead like the wind, but Louisa's chosen horse moved her at a snail's pace. By the end, she sadly tore up her betting ticket before it was even over.